Welcome to the special Saturday edition of the Tough Decisions podcast called Step Up Your Game with Dan. Each Saturday, Dan will be discussing topics related to making better decisions in business to increase your productivity and sales. And now, your host, Dan Hanford.
On the podcast today, we're going to be talking about your customer avatar. And I'm sure some of you have maybe heard of that phrase before about an avatar for your customer, but some of you might not understand exactly what that is. And so I wanted to take today's episode and really dive into what is a customer avatar, answer some questions about, why you would want to have a customer avatar, and then go into some things that you should be asking to be able to create this avatar for your specific business and your specific company. And so let's first talk about what is a customer avatar. So a customer avatar is a fictional character that is created by you and your team that represents your ideal customer, your ideal lead, prospect, donor, investor, whatever kind of business you're in, a type of lead that you are looking for, a prospect that you are looking for, that is what a customer avatar is. It's defining a fictional character that represents that ideal customer. So why do you need a avatar? So when you have an avatar for your business, it helps you understand what those ideal customers are thinking. It allows you to understand their desires, their needs, their wants, and everything about them. And when you can understand to that level of detail of your customers, now you can start to think like your customers. And when you can start to think like your customers, you can now know what secrets that are inside of them that helps to motivate them to be able to buy something from you. It helps you understand what their buying decisions are, how they make those decisions, how they process things in their head, and really allows you to dial in your marketing to specifically target that avatar. It also allows you to understand why some of your products sell better than others. And so it is very important for you to really sit down and take some time to go through this exercise I'm going to go through with you today to define your avatar. Now, when you define this avatar for your customer should be so real to you and your team that you should be able to talk to that ideal customer in that avatar format like a real life human being. And we'll talk after we go through some of these different questions that you should be asking, what you can do to make sure that you don't forget about this customer avatar. But one of the things I would have you do as we go through some of these questions about your ideal customer and creating this avatar, if you will, I would suggest that you sit down with your team and go through this exercise of asking these questions with your team so that you can all work together to create this avatar. Now, for those of you who are listening who don't have a business yet, or you're thinking about having a business, I would suggest at least having somebody else, a friend, a family member, your spouse, your partner, somebody that you can sit down with and create a dynamic where you can discuss through what are the different aspects of this avatar. Because the more you can dial this in, again, the better you're going to be able to reach and be able to sell something or be able to actually communicate to that ideal customer, which is that avatar. So first thing, you want to name your avatar. Sally, John, Peter. You want to give it a particular name so that you reference this ideal customer, you're treating them like a real life human being in this avatar format. You want to know the age of this avatar. You want to know, are they married? Are they single? Are they divorced? Do they have children? Where do they live? Do they live in a city? Do they live in the suburbs? Do they live in the middle of nowhere? Do they live in a house? Do they live in an apartment? What schools do they attend, whether it be high school, college, professional school? What are their title? What's their job title? Okay. What kind of profession are they in? What's their household income? All of these questions you need to answer and sit down and take some time to go through each one of these things. And there'll be a list of these questions on the show notes in the next couple of days. We'll have them up there so that you can go to toughdecisions.net and get this list of questions so that you can have these all written down. But I would definitely suggest you listening to this episode again because it'll help you understand, what these different questions are. You need to get to this avatar, this ideal customer, dialed in all the way down to their hair color, their eye color, how much do they weigh, all of those things. Now, if you're in a B2B, business to business, type of sales, and you're trying to reach a B2B customer, you want to understand and know what industry they are in. You want to understand what the annual revenue is of that business. You want to know the number of employees they have, where they're located, how long they've been in business, who else does that business sell to. So those are a lot of questions that you want to be able to ask when you have a B2B type of environment as well. Now, there's a couple more personal details that you want to get as well. You want to understand how many years have they been in the job that they're at? What's their current salary? How many jobs have they held over the course of their career? What kind of political views do they have? Do they have some religious views? What are their hobbies? What are their personal interests? You want to dial this in as close as you can. Now, you can also go even deeper than that. You can have your team thinking about what is it like to be in the typical day in the life of your avatar and your ideal customer. What kind of brands do they like to buy? What are their favorite websites they like to visit? Where do they get their news? What kind of social media do they use? Do they use LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube? Where do they go? What kind of goals do they have? Whether the goals are personal, business, family, what kind of goals do they have? What kind of goals are they setting for themselves? And so you want to make sure that you dial these people in, this ideal customer for your business. It's also a good idea when you're doing this to list problems that this ideal customer is having that makes them an ideal customer for your business. Because businesses are there to be able to solve problems for people. Obviously, they're there to make money, but the main reason why we have a business, which allows us to be able to make money, is we solve problems. We can create a product or a service or something that actually helps solve a problem for a particular customer. So you want to dial this person in. You want to know what's the worst thing that could possibly happen if that problem is not solved. How would it make your customer feel? How would it make their boss react? What are some things that would happen in their career or their personal lifestyle if we couldn't solve that problem? What would their friends think? What kind of consequences professionally, personally, or financially would they have? What are some of their deep, dark secrets? And what are they secretly afraid of? There's a lot of things like this that you should be asking to be able to dial this in. And once you have those types of questions answered, what you should be doing now is creating a short story, a kind of a story about their life and their background, whether it be professional or personal, what kind of impact the problem is having on their life. How's that problem making them feel? What types of frustrations does that customer have? And you want to define all of these different areas for that avatar. What does that particular avatar need more than anything else? And how can your business provide that product or service that's needed most to solve that problem for that avatar? You need to write that down. And you need to make as many copies as you can of that and pass it around to your team, to your office. The first thing you should do when you hire a new person is sit them down and explain to them what this avatar is. And so once you have it all dialed in, listen to this episode a couple times, you've sat down with your team, you've dialed in this avatar, again, print it out, explain it to your team. Everyone on your team must own this customer avatar. When you have meetings about anything in your business, this customer avatar should be at the center of each one of those discussions to discuss how your avatar will be affected by the outcome of this decision. This podcast is tough decisions for entrepreneurs. We're faced with these tough decisions day in and day out, but we need to also balance those tough decisions with how it affects our customer avatar in our business. Every single one of your decisions should be revolving around how it will be affecting how you can reach this customer avatar. So this, again, is one of those episodes that it's a kind of a shorter episode, but it has a lot of details in it, a lot of things that you should be doing. I would suggest tagging this episode, listening to it again, and again, and it'll help you dial in this avatar. So I want to thank you so much for listening today. I know, again, it was kind of a short episode. Sometimes they're a little longer, sometimes they're a little shorter, but thank you for listening. Be sure to visit the toughdecisions.net website. You can sign up for our free weekly entrepreneur email. You can get the latest news on the favorite technology for business, entrepreneur quotes, summaries of the latest episodes so that, if you for some reason you missed the episodes for that week, you can get some of the summaries in your email on a weekly basis so you can see which ones interest you or you might want to go back and listen to those. So that's toughdecisions.net, and look forward to having you on a future episode.
Make sure to subscribe to our Tough Decisions podcast channel to listen in on Sunday for our next specialty show to help you make better decisions. It's called Survive and Thrive with Danae. Do you want to nominate a highly successful entrepreneur or real estate investor to be a guest on this show? Email us at dan@toughdecisions.net. Help us spread the word about the Tough Decisions podcast with your friends, and also take time right now to subscribe and leave a review on iTunes, Facebook, or your favorite platform. You've been listening to the Tough Decisions Show.